A brilliant 200 IQ girl unexpectedly inherits her uncle's secret armory, along with the enemies determined to eliminate her. The first episode unfolds in a remote area, showing a rundown house with broken walls and shattered windows. A loudspeaker blares, announcing a firearms training session at a nearby base, accompanied by the wail of alarms. The voice urges soldiers to train for national security and apologizes for the disruption, advising residents to temporarily evacuate. Meanwhile, a group of armed men strolls across the field, singing and exchanging jokes. On a distant bridge, a van is parked. Inside, a sniper carefully adjusts his rifle's scope, aiming at the small house. Just as he prepares to fire, a radio transmission distracts him. A male voice announces the start of a rabbit hunt, identifying a target 950 meters away. Frustrated, the sniper glances at his device before refocusing. He fires. The bullet smashes through the house window, narrowly missing a young woman. A family portrait on the wall shatters as she instinctively dives for cover. Watching through his scope, the sniper smirks. Panicked, the girl spots a pistol within reach. Nearby, a wounded girl leans against the wall, while a young man lies unconscious a few feet away. Determined to grab the weapon, she crawls toward it. Another gunshot rings out, knocking the pistol aside. Forced back into hiding, she trembles, her mind racing. She shuts her eyes, sinking into a memory. She recalls sitting on a couch with a man, watching an action film. Laughing at how the hero dodges every bullet, she listens as the man explains. It's all about using blind spots. His words echo in her mind as she snaps back to reality. Determined, she scans the room. Spotting a mop, she wraps a broken mirror shard around it and cautiously raises it. A shot immediately follows. She repeats the trick, lifting the mirror higher each time, tracking the sniper's position. Realizing her plan, the man in the van orders the driver to move forward. Identifying his blind spots, she climbs onto the refrigerator. With a deep breath, she leaps toward the couch just as the sniper fires again. The bullet misses. She lands safely, though pain shoots through her back as she crashes into the couch. The sniper, frustrated, reloads his weapon while Jian tries to retrieve the pistol, now pushed under the couch. As she flips it over, instead of the handgun, she finds a sniper rifle. The sniper peers through his scope again, only to see the girl aiming straight back at him. A split second later, she pulls the trigger. At a police station, Jian sits while several officers struggle to restrain a furious young man who accuses her of assaulting him. A female officer approaches and informs Jian that she'll be released after they review the surveillance footage. When the officers check the footage, they see the man deliberately following a girl into the women's restroom. Moments later, the girl runs out in fear, with the man right behind her. Then, Jian appears, catching up to him and delivering a brutal beating. Unapologetic, Jian asks when she can leave. The officer, unimpressed, tells her she should have detained the man and called the police instead of attacking him. Now, the man wants to press charges. Since she needs a family member to intervene, she reluctantly takes out her phone and dials her uncle. However, instead of him, she hears the voice of Officer Park Jin-woo, who informs her that her uncle, Yang Jinman, has passed away. Sitting in the back of a car, Jian drifts into memories of her uncle. She recalls him installing metal bars on her window, puzzled as to why anyone would climb to the 5th floor. She also remembers her frustration over the wardrobe he bought for her, calling it ugly, unfashionable, and completely unfit for a teenage girl's room. Amused, her uncle had simply smirked, explaining that the wardrobe was made of iron and bulletproof. If there were ever a shootout, she could hide inside. Jian had laughed at his paranoia and quickly changed the subject, mentioning how a store owner who scammed her had recently suffered a serious accident and was now repaying everyone he had cheated. Her uncle casually admitted that he was the one who broke the store owner's arms and legs, but Jian assumed he was joking. She then remembered him taking a picture of her student ID. Annoyed, she snatched it from him, but he ignored her reaction and insisted she memorize his badge number, repeating it several times. Back in the present, Jian realizes those were the last words her uncle ever spoke to her. Her thoughts are interrupted by the taxi driver who mentions that he knew her uncle from school and asks how he's doing. Lowering her gaze, Jian quietly responds that her uncle has passed away. Upon reaching her destination, the driver hands her a business card, recommending a good funeral home. At the hospital morgue, Jian is asked to identify her uncle's body. As she examines him, she notices a wound on his neck, which strikes her as unusual. Suicides typically involve wrist cuts. A police officer acknowledges their initial suspicion of murder, but explains that a week's worth of surveillance footage showed no one near her uncle's house. Additionally, the autopsy concluded that, given the angle of the wound, it was possible he inflicted it himself. With no further evidence, the case was ruled a suicide. The officer offers to email her the full report, but Jian declines, thinking this end seems fitting for her uncle. As his body is returned to the cooler, she catches sight of a tattoo on his neck that reads, Murthiel, surprised that she never noticed it before. After leaving the morgue, Jian visits a funeral home to arrange the ceremony. Lost in thought, she is brought back to reality when the director asks for a photo of her uncle for the memorial portrait. Instead, she sits on the steps, deep in thought. A voice suddenly startles her. It's a young man introducing himself as B. Young Men, an old childhood friend. Together, they enter the house and search for a suitable photo. Young Men, skilled in editing, crafts a portrait from a family picture. He then mentions that he recently worked for her uncle, helping update a website that sold agricultural hoses. In fact, he was still working on it when Jin Man died, making him the last person in contact with him. Young Men adds that since Jin Man was found in the bathtub, the police questioned him first. He then asks if Jian has cleaned the tub yet. When she says no, he offers to handle it so she can focus on the funeral. Grateful, she agrees. At the funeral, Jinman's old friends, including the taxi driver, arrive. Jian greets them politely and listens as they discuss the floral arrangements. One bouquet stands out, sent by someone named Liong Hanan, whom no one recognizes. The taxi driver openly comments on the mystery, but before they can speculate further, the funeral director announces the arrival of more guests, prompting Jian to welcome them. Outside, a mysterious man smokes a cigarette, murmuring a farewell to Jinman and promising they will meet again in hell. Back inside, guests are seated at tables. Jian notices a pair of twins sitting apart from the others, avoiding conversation. Meanwhile, Young Men cleans the bathroom. While wiping down the cabinet, he notices a bloody fingerprint. Carefully opening it, he discovers a hidden mobile phone. Elsewhere, a drunk taxi driver suddenly starts wailing in front of Jin Man's portrait. His emotional outburst draws attention, and the guests begin speculating. Did the deceased owe him money? Or were they lovers? Soon, the conversation shifts to Jin Man's supposed suicide. Some wonder if his hose-selling business collapsed, leading him to take his own life. As the guests continue talking, they throw around various rumors about Jin Man. Was he a gangster? An anti-North spy? Their speculation is cut short by the taxi driver, who reminds them how their own fathers wasted their fortunes at the local gambling den. He shares a personal story. His father once tried to burn coal inside their home, nearly suffocating the entire family. That's when Jin Man appeared with a bag full of cash, saving them. The room falls silent as the men process this revelation, realizing they never truly knew their friend. Hearing this, Jian reflects on her own experience. She lived with her uncle for years, yet barely understood him. After the farewell, Jin Man's casket is sent to the crematorium. Outside, Jian lights a cigarette. Young Min joins her, saying he'll accompany her to the cemetery. Once they collect the urn, they board a bus. During the ride, Jin Man's friends whisper among themselves, surprised that Jian hasn't shed a single tear. Back at her uncle's house, Young Min mentions that he thoroughly cleaned the bathtub. He praises Jian for staying strong, but she confesses that she despised her uncle, or rather, how he died. Regretting her words immediately, she thanks Young Min again for his help. Wandering through the house, she stumbles upon her old clothes, triggering a flood of memories. Overwhelmed, she breaks down sobbing. Young Min, who had briefly stepped outside, returns to find her in tears. Seeing her like this, he hesitates, about to leave, but Jian asks him to stay. After some time, she leans on his shoulder and drifts to sleep. Once she calms down, Young Min shows her an old mobile phone he found. Jian is surprised. It's an ancient model from before they upgraded their devices. She doubts it even works, but just then, a new message arrives. Curious, she opens it and reads that someone paid Jin Man 70 million and is expecting their goods. Another message reveals a staggering bank balance. Stunned, she hands the phone to Young Min, asking him to check. He confirms it, 18.7 billion yuan. Thinking quickly, Jian asks to see a website linked in the messages. As they investigate, they both realize that selling hoses could never generate that kind of money. Young Min suspects the website is a front. Digging into the site's code, he discovers a hidden dark web page called Mirror the Help. Jian recalls the same phrase tattooed on her uncle's leg. Exploring further, they uncover that the site is an arms dealer's marketplace. Suddenly, a message from a buyer pops up. Jian, trying to stall, responds that the store is closed and offers a refund. The buyer immediately realizes Jinman is dead and warns her that she's next. Panicking, Young Min quickly shuts down the site and urges Jian to call the police. As the doorbell rings, Jian walks to the intercom and picks up the receiver. A woman's voice comes through. She introduces herself as Seo Min, a Chinese language tutor, claiming they have a lesson scheduled today. Standing by the slightly open gate, Seo Min has a pistol tucked inside her bag. Suspicious of this unexpected visitor, Jian refuses to let her in and tells her to leave. Just then, a message appears on her phone from an unknown sender, warning her not to let anyone else kill her. They want to do it themselves. The next moment, loud banging fills the house as Seo Min knocks forcefully on the front door. Meanwhile, a fleet of drones armed with cameras and weapons is en route to the house. A flashback takes Jian back to when she was a child. The family is gathered for dinner with Jin Man, who has just returned after years of complete silence. His brother, furious, demands to know why he disappeared without a word. He had assumed Jin Man had become a sailor and died at sea. Jin Man's wife tries to calm him down, but Jin Man turns to his young niece instead, asking if she knows his name. When she shakes her head, he repeats it several times, urging her to remember. In response, the little girl sticks out her tongue and grins at him. Seo Min arrives at Jin Man's house in her car. She opens the trunk, pulls out a remote control, and releases a swarm of drones toward the house. Then, grabbing a rifle, she takes aim. Meanwhile, Jin Man is at his mother's funeral, sensing something suspicious about her death. He suggests an autopsy to his brother, but his brother dismisses the idea, insisting there's nothing unusual. She had been sick for a long time, and the doctor had already warned them to prepare for the worst. She only seemed to recover briefly after Jin Man returned. Their argument is interrupted by Jian's mother, who urges them to calm down. Just then, a loud crash echoes as young Jian breaks something nearby. Her mother scolds her and asks Jin Man to take her home. As they leave, a man arrives at the funeral, offering condolences and introducing himself as an old friend of Jin Man. Jian's parents exchange uneasy glances while the man gives them a cold smile. That night, Jian lies awake, unable to sleep. Wandering into the next room, she finds her uncle watching TV. She asks about her grandmother, struggling to accept that she's truly gone. Jin Man replies that death isn't something to fear. Everyone dies someday. At that moment, a program plays on TV showing barking hyenas surrounding a silent lion. Using it as an example, Jin Man tells her, "Only the weak make noise. The strong remain silent." Their conversation is cut short by a phone call. Jin Man listens briefly before telling Jian he has to leave to help her parents. He mentions that a friend of his will be arriving soon, but before letting him in, she must test him with a riddle. Jian picks a riddle and shares the answer with her uncle. Jin Man promises to return soon and leaves. A while later, an unfamiliar man approaches the apartment door. Jian hears him tampering with the lock and asks who he is, but he remains silent. Nervously, she recites the riddle, but there's still no response. Fear takes hold as the man continues picking the lock and steps into the hallway. Before he can act, someone yanks him back onto the staircase and slams the door shut. Terrified, Jian hears a struggle outside. Moments later, a young man enters, introducing himself as her uncle's friend. To prove his identity, he types the correct answer to the riddle on his phone and shows it to her. He instructs her to hide in her room. Just as she shuts the door, another assassin sneaks into the apartment. From her hiding spot, Jian hears a violent scuffle. Peeking out, she watches in horror as the intruder severs her uncle's friend's arm. Panicking, she retreats deeper into her hiding place, trembling with fear. Once the attackers take down Jian's protector, they begin searching for her. One of them notices the open window and quickly realizes she has escaped. Spotting her outside, clinging to a pipe along the building's side, he reaches out, trying to coax her back in. Instead, Jian lets go, plummeting downward. Fortunately, a couch on the ground below cushions her fall. As soon as she lands, she scrambles to her feet and runs. One of the criminals chases her through the streets. Desperate to escape, Jian dashes into traffic, only to be struck by a passing car. A crowd gathers, and she is rushed to the hospital. In the hospital, she briefly regains consciousness and overhears two police officers talking. They mention that she is the daughter of a couple murdered at a funeral home. When her parents failed to return home, she had gone searching for them. They also discuss her missing uncle, whose social security benefits were canceled. Later that night, Jian dreams of a hyena creeping toward her, clutching a bloody hand in its jaws. Just as it nears her, she wakes up. At that moment, the assassin sneaks into her hospital room, weapon drawn, only to find her bed empty. Meanwhile, Jian is already fleeing, but he's right behind her. She reaches a dead end and frantically tugs on the first door she finds. Finding the door locked, Jian rushes to the next one and realizes it leads to the morgue. Slipping inside, she glances nervously at the entrance before heading toward the cold storage units. With no other option, she opens one of the compartments and climbs in. The assassin enters and methodically begins checking each unit. Just as he reaches hers and starts to open it, gunshots ring through the morgue. When the chaos subsides, the door swings open. Standing there is Jinman, her uncle. He pulls Jian out and shields her eyes before leading her away. Together, they leave, and he drives her home. A month later, Jinman and Jian embark on a long drive. During the journey, he hands her a stuffed animal, her favorite. By morning, they arrive at his home. As Jian steps through the gate, she trips and falls. Jinman watches for a moment before saying, "I'm not your father, and I never will be. I can't give you what your parents did." Hearing this, Jian quietly picks herself up and continues walking. That night, as she tosses and turns in her sleep, Jinman recalls what the doctor told him. Jian suffers from aphasia and dissociative amnesia. The weight of guilt overwhelms him. Stepping out of her room, he repeatedly slaps himself, punishing his helplessness. At school, Jian's teacher informs Jinman that while she excels academically, her refusal to speak is a problem. She is bullied by classmates who spread cruel rumors about her parents' deaths. One day, after overhearing one such rumor, Jian loses control and hurls a chair at a boy. The teacher expresses concern, saying she struggles to fit in and has become an outcast. One rainy afternoon, Jian walks home alone without an umbrella, while other students are picked up by their parents. Jinman pulls up beside her, but seeing her indifference, drives off, leaving her to continue walking in the rain. After that day, Jian falls ill. Over time, she slowly adjusts to life with her uncle, communicating with him through notes on the fridge. At another school meeting, Jinman tells the teacher that Jian must find her own way to cope. One day, 3 classmates lock her in the school basement. At first, she sits in silence, unfazed. But as darkness falls, she sees the hyena again, this time gripping a severed human hand. Terror grips her, and she pounds on the door, screaming for her uncle. Eventually, Jinman arrives and frees her. As soon as she sees him, Jian collapses into his arms, finally breaking down, crying, and shouting everything she had been holding inside. Jian demands to know why Jinman took so long to return that day. Filled with regret, he sincerely apologizes. Later, at home, he prepares a barbecue and invites Jian to join him. As she takes a bite, she unexpectedly comments that the food is delicious, catching him off guard. In the present, Jian refuses to open the door for Min and asks her to leave. She lies, saying her uncle isn't home and won't return tonight. Min Hai insists she knows Jinman, claiming he often speaks fondly of his intelligent and beautiful niece who studies at Seoul University. Jian immediately realizes she's lying. Disheartened, Min walks back to her car and drives away. Shortly after, Jian receives another chilling message from the anonymous sender. "I want to kill you." Before she can process it, Jong Min interrupts, saying he has something important to show her. He has hacked into the site operator's account and uncovered shocking details. The site mandates registration, assigning each member a unique code that grants access to specific products. There are 4 types. Red code, for assassins who can buy weapons, poisons, and explosives. Purple code, for spies who deal in surveillance, hidden cameras, and carry basic weapons, including for suicide if a mission fails. Yellow code, for cleaners who provide crime scene cleaning services and help criminals evade justice. And green code, a mysterious category that doesn't fit any group. Those assigned green codes are strictly off-limits for attacks. If anyone targets them, others must protect them. As Jong Min scrolls further, he discovers that only 2 people hold green codes, Jinman and Jian. The revelation that her own uncle ran a weapons store leaves her stunned. Before she can react, an explosion suddenly shakes the house. Rushing to the main room, they find the perimeter fence has been destroyed. Moments later, drones equipped with machine guns appear outside the windows, opening fire. Jian and Jong Min drop to the floor in terror, but quickly realize the windows are bulletproof. Struggling to their feet, they rush toward the back door, only to be confronted by another drone. Panicking, they slam the door shut as gunfire rains down. Examining the bullet marks, they realize the house is well fortified. Returning to the hall, they watch more drones hovering outside. Suddenly, the machines eject black sticky devices onto the glass. Within seconds, they detonate, blasting Jian and Jong Min backward as shattered glass rains down. Jian manages to reach her room safely, but Jong Min is caught in the line of fire. Crawling desperately to the next room, he spots a metal cabinet and scrambles inside. The drone pursuing him scans the area and quickly determines he must be hiding there. Without hesitation, it unleashes a barrage of machine gun fire on the cabinet's reinforced door before launching a sticky explosive. The blast rips the door apart, leaving Zhongmin fully exposed. Just as the drone prepares to finish him off, Jian bursts in, using a slingshot to knock it out of the air. As it crashes to the floor, she rushes forward and smashes it with a chair, destroying it completely. Elsewhere, a group of men sits around a campfire, casually discussing their work and personal lives. A man named Kim approaches, and the others greet him with respect. Without a word, he pulls out a knife, makes a small cut on his arm, and removes a tiny embedded chip. One of the men asks if they should all do the same. Kim shrugs, saying it's a personal choice, but he's done carrying that burden. Suddenly, another man enters with an imposing presence. He is a ruthless killer who had previously been hunting little Jian. Sun Zhou, their leader, steps forward and demands that everyone present display their weapons. After carefully inspecting them, he turns to the group and makes an announcement. Anyone who finds and kills Jin Man's niece will receive a substantial reward. The crowd erupts into cheers, eager for the challenge, and quickly piles into a van, ready to begin the hunt. Had Jian learned about her uncle's enemies and the nature of his business earlier, would it have made things easier for her? Perhaps knowing the full truth sooner would have helped her accept his past and prepare for the danger ahead. Or maybe it would have only deepened her fear and distrust.